Members, Senator Coleman's amendment allowed the freedom of choice of people in our state rather than the dictates of government that are being placed into our laws recently all over the place, Mr. President. And we're seeing it in this bill. This is a big government bill that grows government by 400 employees and sucks $80 million out of the system that is created here per biennium for government, just for more government. That's what's in the underlying bill. The bill in front of us right now, Mr. President. It's just too bad that we weren't able to adopt Senator Coleman's amendment. It was a very good amendment and would have allowed the ability for us to pursue this discussion in a way that preserved the personal freedoms of people that this bill so harshly violates. One of the things that is central to this, Mr. President, is the freedom of the employee to self-direct. We have before us a bill that says, employee, this is what you're going to do. You're going to pay tax to the government. That's what it says, and it's collecting all kinds of tax money. And Mr. President, for an employee that makes $25,000 a year, the tax on the employee in the bill, $87.50 a year. Their employer has to provide another $87.50 a year. That's potential salary increase, Mr. President, that employer is no longer going to be able to pay to the employee because the dictates of government in this bill are extracting it from the government or from the business and taking it away. So now, if the full amount of this bill is realized, which we know will, Mr. President, 1.2% is the limits placed in this bill on the employee and the employer, that same $25,000 a year worker, $150, or if you include his employer's amount, that's $300 of current and future salary that employee is forced to give up in this bill. If that employee, Mr. President, earns $50,000 a year, that's $175 per year for the employee, and his future or her future tax increase, or his or her future salary increase is $350. Now, if the full amount of this bill is realized and the full taxation pressure is placed on that employee, Mr. President, that's $300 a year for the employee's portion only, and $600 a year if you consider the employer amount or their future salary increase that is being extracted from the employer on behalf of this bill. If you go to $75,000 a year, Mr. President, that's $262.50 a year, and you go times 2, which includes their future salary increase, $525 per year that is taken from this employee and goes to pay for 400 government employees, as outlined in the bill. Now, Mr. President, let's say that $75,000 a year employee is married. Both spouses would be required to contribute to this. That's $450 for that household at the 1.2% level, and their salary increases in the future, Mr. President, bring that to $900 per couple that are extracted from their family income and go to the dictates of government for the government to do more things to that family. $100,000 a year in family income, Mr. President, you're looking at $1,200 at the 1.2% level that's extracted from this family and from their future salary increases. Now, Mr. President, per capita income, when this bill is fully realized at 1.2% taxation on the employee and employer, that family at $41,204 of per capita average income in our state will be paying nearly $500 a year at $494.45. Now, Mr. President, if you consider the the Minnesota median household income of $77,706 at the 1.2% fully enacted, fully realized portion of this bill, that household, that includes the employee of both employees in the household, the husband and the wife, will be paying, when fully realized, $494 per year, nearly $500 per household if you include their future salary increase that is being extracted from their employer in this bill. Mr. President, this bill is about taxation. This bill is about big government. This bill is about no choices for people. There is no choice for the individuals or the businesses in this bill. Government dictates to them that you're going to do this, you're going to do this. If you don't do this, you're going to have a penalty of $10 for this, $25 for this, $1,000 penalty I read in the bill, Mr. President, if the employer's following the law and still makes a mistake. I'm still working on reading that part of the bill, Mr. President, but the choices for people are taken away from them in this bill in favor of big government. I would like to offer a solution, Mr. President, and that is the A16 amendment.
Senator Drazkowski offers the A16 amendment. The Secretary will report the A16 amendment.
Senator Drazkowski moves to amend House File Number 2 as amended pursuant to Rule 45 as follows. Page 40 after line 20, insert. This is the A16 amendment.
Senator Drazkowski, to your A16 amendment.
Thank you, Mr. President. The A16 amendment, members, allows employees throughout our state to decide their future. It doesn't require them to march to the dictates of government like the Democrats have included in this bill, but instead it says, employee, if you want to opt out of this program, you can do so. All you have to do is tell the government you don't want to be a part of this. You don't want to have your wages extracted from you and your family against your will, and you don't want the government to dictate what you get back or don't get back from those wages that are extracted from you. So I would present this in front to you members, and I'd ask for a roll call on the amendment, Mr. President.
Roll call requested, roll call granted. Any other discussion on the A16? Senator Mann, when you're ready.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President.
Oh, hold it. Hold on.
I didn't cede the floor, Mr. President.
I'm sorry?
I did not cede the floor.
Oh, I thought you ceded the floor once you asked for your roll call vote. Sorry about that, Senator Mann. We're still with Senator Drazkowski.
Thank you, Mr. President. And members, I'll offer you an even better option, that it offers more choice for the people, the fine people, the workers of the state of Minnesota. That's the A17 amendment to the amendment.
Senator Drazkowski offers the A17 amendment, which is an amendment to the amendment. The Secretary will report the amendment to the amendment.
Senator Drazkowski moves to amend the A16 amendment to House File Number 2 as follows. Page 1, delete Section 16 and insert. This is the A17 amendment to the amendment.
Senator Drazkowski.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd ask also for a roll call on this amendment to the amendment, Mr. President.
Roll call has been requested. Roll call is granted. And just so that we're clear, there's been a roll call requested on the amendment to the amendment, which is the A17, as well as the A16 underlining amendment. Senator Drazkowski.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, members, this is one step better than the amendment that I brought. This allows the employees to determine whether they want to be in this program or not. It doesn't force them to be in the program to begin with. And it says, employee, if you want to be part of this government program that's created in this bill, all you have to do is let the government know and they will opt you in. And if you don't want to be part of it, you don't have to do anything. You can continue with your arrangements that you have with your employer, which if they're working out great for you and your family and offer you the best use of your work resources, the money that you make by working hard every day, it allows you to determine that, you to self-determine your future and not have the government come in and tell you what to do. I encourage your support for the amendment. Thank you, Mr. President.
Now, Senator